Hello and welcome. Today's date, that is the 5th day of February 2020. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel. All bets and trades and of the like, well, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. And I like to use the word bets and, of course, of the like, because when you're trading the market, it's a form of betting. And when you bet, sometimes the odds are in your favor, sometimes they're out of your favor. And if you're making even odds bet on a coin flip, neutral returns. And if you're looking for good positive risk reward management, well, you're looking for plays that can get, that are in your favor. Okay, as far as this Bitcoin against the US fiat currency, this is an interesting situation within the resistance both played on January the 30th and February the 3rd. Piercing below fib at 98.14. And today's session right now barely piercing below it, with today's high coming in right now at 97.70 on the Coinbase exchange. Thus half-ish percent below. It is also marginally above those 2 days highs. It's also exitation of this 18 after mainly a sideways correctionary play over about a 1 week period of time, which was preceded by 3 days up. It broke the level of resistance. It came back to the January 19th resistance, thus coming back to where it came from, coinciding with the 18 highs. I would have to think if this is just going to go through this level of resistance, it's going to be a dynamite pierce above. And it, to me, looks like 10.4. 10, whatever you want to sound it, but 10,400. It looks like we are minimum price number for that of the next target level. Getting above that, we're talking about, well, getting above this Fibonacci level, the next one of 12,800 and 56. Within today's session on the single hour term time frame. This thing got going at 5 o'clock in the morning, which is like European time, 10 o'clock or so, 9 o'clock. And just took a nice straight up move since then over the last few periods, just hanging in there, going sideways. This previous area of resistance here between 9,400 is the lowest area. And if it can extend further, even as it is now, about 95 height change, mid change, or 2/3 change, 95 and 2/3. That is the key area I want to see, like the must-hold area on this move. What I like about it is this little bit in here that happened on the morning of February the 4th, because we had all of this level of support down to as low as 91 and a third, even 91 and 2/5, 91.40. But mainly even that of 91.73. It did get down below there. And here we can see during these few stamps, 1,500 hours, after making this low, barely going below it, really resisting this area of support in here and working its way down, how it higher load this low to this one, matching this high in here from this one. And then there's your breakout from that short-term level on February the 5th. And then, of course, this was a big one that happened. Well, February the 5th, that's today. But the one that happened this morning here, right there. Let's transition next into BTC.D, which stands for Bitcoin Dominance. I don't think it's 65.92%, but its coin market cap has a little bit of a different number, or I think anyway. Either way, as far as the trend of this market, that's what's important for me here. From these lows, and these were big lows, that was when Bitcoin was 20,000. That's when altcoins were most certainly at the big highs. And it's been higher lows and higher highs ever since then. The action below the 18 lows on the weekly term from the low, this little bit in here, as it stopped the downtrend, thus finally what made a higher low, and then proceeding that with breaking above this resistance here, and then of course it's been in the uptrend, but that's the first time with any action below the 18 average of lows. After this, it was trying to work its way down in here, but it barely ever did go below it. So there hasn't been really any play from this breakout that has stopped this uptrend, but it's most certainly in danger right now. First off, we have this level of support that it established in last October into November. We can see now that in here we've been resisting it. We've established this level of support here, which is a little lower than this, and it's now breaking down below it. We got this empty space, but things could get wild if this, and it looks like it's probably going to happen if this goes down lower. How Bitcoin dominance is calculated, it's a really simple mathematical formula. You take the market cap of Bitcoin and you divide it by the market cap of the entire crypto space, and that's what the number is in percentage form. Looking at this on the daily chart, we can see in here there's this level of support that established in the middle of January, coming into its correctionary phase and exiting the 18 average a few days ago. And now to me it looks like this thing this resistance is level of this support in here. So to me this looks like your typical reversal of trend, and that we should be testing some of this empty space, thus going into retracement mode. Okay, now on to altcoins. We'll start off with Bitcoin Cash. And this is crossed against BTC from the beginning. I guess this would be a better place to put it in here, but originally it traded in this range and nicely choppy up and down too, which is great if you're looking to buy and sell and try to pick away at highs and lows, especially within the ratio trading that I've talked about. Really easy to do. You just let the numbers come to you. Your buy and sellers, that would be. Anyway, from this level of support, we came up to this high in here, which was a match of this level. This correctionary move did not make a higher low, did not stop or support where the must hold area is, but it didn't break down, meaning with multiple tests of support, it did successfully hold that one. Now we see in here exitation on this, decent move in here, and the continuation of the uptrend. So noticeable breakout attempt. And to me it looks like we should be at least making a move to come to this level in here. On the daily chart, this is an interesting situation, to say the least. Okay. First you got this high, a little bit of a correction, then this one in here. Unable to break out during this run in here, and thus successfully correcting on the 18 lows and this previous area of support. An attempt to break out failing, a correctionary move successfully big time, and now the reattempt, and it has already came and tested piercing above previous high. So this is that area right here, this general spot between the 410 and the 423 handle. Interesting if it comes down. It would coincide within this 18, of course, as well. But that doesn't mean it's even going to come back. But if it does, it's an interesting spot. This thing could just keep on going at any time, given its market condition, and start to fill some of this empty space. And this previous high, not too long ago, is in at around the 70 handle. Litecoin on the daily chart. Well, we can see that we've had from this high all lower highs and lower lows, every time getting above the 18 highs. It never did anything after it until now. It got above it here on January the 10th, and nice little move up to the 70 handle, successfully correcting on the 18 over several days, and then the exitation on the 30th of January, and has been doing very well. Still now in the last day number 4 within the sideways correctionary move. A little bit of price, not quite there yet to get the official touch of the 18. And a couple more days for the time correction to hit this with the rising 18, coming back to where you came from, area B, the 670 up to about the 700 handle. And we're already now at this point, retesting in here. So if this level doesn't resist, next level resistance is pretty much the high 99 or the even 10 number. Next up is one of the ones that I like to play a little aggressive for fun, and it's HBAR. And we had this big decline sideways for many a days, and now 3 days going up. We can see here from the decline on December the 23rd, which is the reason why I'm using that date, is because that's where the price high is today. How long did it take to go down to about this 137 handle? Well, we can see right in here, even I'll just count December 29th, like 6 days, 7 days. Markets usually go up faster than they go down. It took about 6 or 7 days down to go up what's been 3 so far. Interesting. Most certainly a major noticeable move above the 18, and most certainly a minor, very, very big move, because this thing can go up like to wherever. In fact, I think this thing is poised to come back to where it came from, which is 300 at the lower end of it. 300 up to 360. We're only at 230 now. On the single hour term, this thing broke out big at the 140 or so level on February the 3rd morning. That's 2 days ago at 4 o'clock. That's 60 hours ago. Since then, a beautiful move up to this resistance near 200. A lot of support established and done successfully at 181. The breakout today occurred at 9 o'clock in the morning. A couple hours go through, or three going sideways, and has managed to go up to this high around 245, 246, pulling back a little bit. But I do like the volatility. And now let's talk about ratio trading. This is the list of all of the markets in which I'm trading. I gotta fix this because this might be outdated. I don't know why Bitcoin. Anyway, I'm not planning on showing Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin anyway. Hedera hash graph against that of Bitcoin Cash is what I want to show. So that ratio is 19,465 right now, meaning that's how many of the HBARs you need for one Bitcoin Cash. And on the 1 hour time frame, this is just interesting volatility here. As we can see here, we got this level of resistance. Failed breakout, fast move lower, prototypical. There's your failed breakout. Comes back. It doesn't support this area where you looked for it to do it in here. Supports here, resist this fast, and then when it breaks it, clear, concise move. Failed move, fast move. But what else do we see? We see the volatility on it. 24.6 down to 18.2. That's a differential of over 6,000 basis points. 6,000 divided by 18, that's like 1/3, 33%. Daily chart. And there's not much data on here because, well, HBAR has only been around on this for quite short amount of a time. This low congested at around 8,700. And then we had this range here, 33,000 down to, we'll say 30,000. That's over 3x move. And it's just how it goes. And now it's starting to give a little bit of it back. When I get to the stage where markets go straight up or straight down, I start not to like it too much. Because my ratio trading game is all about markets not going straight up or straight down. Here's a straight up move. I kind of do like it in the sense of, okay, what did I do during this time? It was 100% of my trades were selling Bitcoin Cash for that of HBAR. And now I've been able to get at least 2 of the ratio trades back. So therefore, my last 4 trades, which is the one just recently done here, and then somewhere in here as well, which means 1 in here, and then 1 in like here kind of deal. So the 2 sells I made at the 2 tops here, and so far the 2 that I made on the way down, the net gain for me is I have 678 HBARs and 0.07 Bitcoin Cash, and not too bad. And I still wouldn't mind it maybe coming down towards here. And well, another way of my thinking on this is, what's the chances that because HBAR being the type of coin that it is, more volatile mainly, that it has one of those elusive kind of runs where, I mean, even if Bitcoin Cash goes up with good volatility, if HBAR explodes Bitcoin Cash isn't going to beat it. And that could mean that maybe it comes down and we have a move down to this level here at 3,000. And if this were to happen, if something like this were to go on, oh, wow, I'd be in the spot where here I'm like, oh, man, stop going. I mean, come on. I got way too many HBAR. I'm very low on Bitcoin Cash inventory for this cross. I need to, well, fix that. And the market conditions by going down would help me. And that's what it's starting to do. But I can most certainly tell you as this is going down in here, the opposite would then be true. I'm like, okay, man, I have gained a lot of Bitcoin Cash. And my HBAR is pretty low in inventory now. And I want the opposite. And now I want Bitcoin Cash to go up. I want HBAR to sell off, all that stuff for the trades. And a lot of times they'll just do that. But the reason why one would go down like this so aggressively would be if HBAR has like a 14, 15x or 7x or whatever large gain, and Bitcoin Cash might be lucky to double or triple, then moves or whatever like this could very easily happen. But we've seen so many times when these altcoins do that type of stuff. If it goes from like you base like 100 Satoshi and just burst higher, and maybe next thing you know it's at like 28.75. How many times before with them have you seen many periods later that when it goes back down, next thing you know, we're not losing half fair value, we're losing much more. And this thing is now, after so many lower lows, is at 410 maybe. And then, of course, the result for this going to 410 would be, well, this, and who knows, maybe it goes to this high and breaks it later. That's what I'm looking for within the large volatility that comes into these markets. Is a big example on this is the GRS and DGB. It's just a very, very sick crossing. On the daily chart, nice little choppy up and down action, but not great volatility. 24 low and like 32 high. That's 20-30%. Yeah, not great volatility. However, when you look at this on, say, the weekly chart, when you have stuff like this, when you look at these moves, this would be a spot where exactly you'd be like selling everything on the way down. In this case, that would be because DGB would have been overperforming GRS on this move. This is like 50 or 60. This is like 2/3. That's like, what, 100x decline? Okay, whatever. So you go from like 0.6, you congest here at like a little over 2, but even below at 2 as well before then. Then you go to a high of 25. Congesting here at like 7, under 7 even. Go up to over 100, back down to 16, up to 55, and of course now you can see this has just been microscopic volatility. But any given time, boom or boom type of move could happen. And you could have just moves like that, and that's really what I'm looking for. It's just the two coins together that I deemed as coins on steroids, that of DGB and GRS. Well, maybe they're off the juice. And maybe they'll get back on the juice again. We'll see. Let's continue on with another one, Theta and HBAR, which is now just getting its 18-week average moving in, so down to its correctionary play. But we can see here a low of like 2, a high of over 10. That's over a 5x move. And just from this retracement in here, going from, we'll say 11, because that's what the high here says, we're at 5.5, so it's lost half its value. How do you do? I'm doing fine, actually, but anyway. So we have the uptrend, just a phenomenal move. And like everything else I mentioned, it was everything I traded against HBAR was the same thing, because HBAR was going down. And then when other coins went up, that just amplified these moves even more, which is what I like about ratio trading. But with that being said, and there never was any action from the time it even went in here below the 18 lows. There was no reaction. It was all above the 18 highs pretty much up until here. And even for that matter, this is when it all stopped. And then there you go. I'm not trying to predict when this happens, how high this is going to go, how much it's going to retrace. Rather, when the situations arrive where, oh, maybe it comes down here. Okay, sell HBAR, buy Theta, because up in here it was selling Theta, buying HBAR. And then the whole net result is gaining that of extra coins. And then as we just keep on chopping up and down, because my whole hope is that the ratios just look like that as we keep on going forward. And that's just how it goes. And then I'm going to mainly be selling on this upper end, buying on the lower end. And then when these coins, let's just take a look at them. And we'll say, let's do one that's got good data on it. Why not Ripple? Give it a look here. It's got an interesting setup. But anyway, when they're high against Bitcoin, and we can see right now it's low against Bitcoin, then the play is to sell it against Bitcoin. So for HBAR, I mean, there's no way I would consider selling anything, and even then I'm not going to until I hit that 300 to 320 level. But no, I'm looking for it to go much higher, like 4 figures. And here, I mean, that's not much of a move. And here, maybe a little bit. I think. I mean, we could be lower high in this. This level may never even be close to seen again. We're going to have tremendous rallies at some point, and from some level. Question is from that is from that level here, and is this point now, and then how far high do we go? But it does mean maybe if we get up here, maybe I'll sell some for Bitcoin, and then in here, for sure, I definitely want to sell some. We're now talking about from this point here of a 7x gain, but really, when you think about it, 7x is kind of minimum. If this thing ends up breaking higher or above this, then there's a good chance that it's going to look something like this, maybe not quite as extensive as this, and maybe at a higher rate as well. But regardless, a concise move to a significantly higher level. So if we see price action up in here, oh yeah, certainly I want to sell against Bitcoin because I realize I'll sell it against BTC. BTC will go to my hardware wallet, private keys I own, yada, yada, yada. Oh yeah, bet prices go back lower, and then, oh yeah, I sold up here and I sold X amount of Ripple. And now I'm going to buy maybe 1.3x Ripple, which is going to cost me less Bitcoin than I bought it for down here. So that's part of the strategy. Even furthermore, when these coins against the US dollar are higher, that means you want to I want to convert it against that. But as it plays, it's fine. Yeah, that's gonna work. How does Ripple look against the dollar? Well, weekly chart, it's just trying to, for the third time, end this downtrend. We'll see how it happens on this third time. This was the first time. It broke out above a declining 18 and neutralized the situation. That's pretty much all it did. And it neutralized it relatively well, as we can see as it goes in here. But as it was starting to break out here, it failed. The second time, right in here, as it was in a neutral situation, it maintained the neutrality for a bit. But we can see it was not holding well here. This resistance was really from the support, noticeably making a lower low, but not by too much. But in here, after resisting the 18 highs, coming back down to the lows the next period near it, getting up here and barely breaking out above it. So this is another attempt in trying to revert the trend. Of course, this against the dollar. So when we're up against here, maybe I want to do a little bit of profit taking. After all, if this is 30 cents and this is $3, I calculate that as a 10x move. And when I'm ratio trading XRP against my other coins, I'll have an okay amount more, maybe, hopefully, because of all the times they do like this, they're in their prices, or XRP has a big gain when everything else isn't, so I'd sell it for those other coins. Or the other coins have their gains for it, and I would sell that, accumulate the ripples, all those types of fun stuff, and then, of course, just keep on playing the game that way. So those are part of the strategies, but for the most part, cryptocurrencies have been, I have been believing for quite some time in accumulation mode. And I go accumulation, neutrality, distribution, and therefore neutrality means that we're near previous highs. And distribution means we've already started to have a noticeable break above previous high. That's how I would look at where those levels are. Thank you for tuning in. I don't think there's anything else I want to talk about, really. I mean, gold and silver, I'm going to make another video soon. It's going through a little bit of a correction move, but I'm going to do that at another point. Let's see, what do we got here? I mean, Dash. Suppose I can go over that one. Yeah, this is just interesting stuff when stuff like this happens. I put these lines in a little ago. I haven't looked at this in a while, so let's see how these lines are playing out. And this has just been one heck of a sideways consolidation after the 3-day price correction. And this is how market react to a specific move. And this was a great move, January 10th through that of the 15th. 6 days of an upward move, going from the 64 handle to 160. That's about 150% gain, 2.5x. And after this correction, it's still just hanging in there. I mean, this fib line, I suppose it could have been more accurate if it was down here, but I don't think they mean, I don't know, I'm just trying to make sense of what I see in here, other than, yeah, it's holding it very, very well. If it breaks down below this 18, I'd be looking for a retest of the support. Usually it pierces below is no surprise. The fact that this didn't go below this low is just a rare thing, I think, because usually it pierces extra. But I would expect if it doesn't hold this, we'd be going down to about the 10 handle even, maybe even barely a little above, like 101, 102. Getting out above this is just a phenomenal situation because we've established a lot of this resistance at about the 1312, 1325, 13 low number. And we're this fib line basically. So if it gets out above, you see it like notice above the 14 handle. After having that 6-day move up and correct like it has been, it would tell you the correction would be over, and just a significantly awesome move that would be. It would be no surprise to have a fast move to previous high where I would deem that where you'd have weak resistance, meaning maybe we congest there for a while, maybe we don't resist it, maybe we price back down to like 13 handle at lowest, even the fib level. But that would be usually the best. That's why I call it weak resistance. You're not going to get a good price correction. Is it worth selling? And if you don't get resistance in here, well, we're talking about filling this empty space. And in here, I guess I can use, this is where we might be better too. Take a look at this against like a Poloniex or Bittrex, which has more data. Oh my goodness, when did I draw that? I'm sure back in the past. Alrighty, let's do some math. This is 11,953, we'll say. I'm going to put my calculator up. And this low is it's got two decimals, where this one's got none. So it's going to be 2 digits lower on the handle, and the handle's about 557. So I need 3 numbers here. That's going to be 557. So therefore, the 38. First off, the 23.6. That's the 1148 handle. So let's just go ahead and put something near there. It's from this high and this low, so let's go 1148. Usually pierces extra. That'll work. And then after that, we're looking at around 1800. Okay. Let's put a line near there, usually piercing above it. Right around there, which it looks like. Well, I mean, I don't know what it's going to look like. I say it looks like it's going to get to it, but this could be that awesome pierce above, and then we just go down to 89 again. I mean, there's so many possible options, but if this thing lefts off higher and starts to break higher, yeah, that's where it's probably going to go to, piercing above that number. And then after that, again, we got 37 handle, which would be the next level of resistance. So let's go roughly around there. And then the 76.4 would be about 580. And we'll put it around there. So as we see, when it came up to this first fib level on January the 15th, it most certainly did not resist it. And it most certainly has been supporting it. It did so on January the 18th and 19th, and then again on the 24th. However, since its last support test, its rally has most certainly been underwhelming. A couple times barely getting above the 18 average of highs, but really not much at all. However, from the underwhelming rally, both finishing January 29th and January 27th, and so far been holding within this 18, and it hasn't even touched this level of key support yet. And if this is a massive pierce above and we fail on this support, well, now you're talking about fib from this high to this low, but more importantly, where did we come from last? We can see some support here between the 80 and the into this area here around 95. So 80 to 95 area would be where I would think this would go to next. And if, of course, that's the case, but you see this starting to break out above, and it's getting above, say, 139, 140 again. It's Probably going to be ready for a decent sized move. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.